Okay, everybody. So some of you have asked about making a stencil. Um, it's a tedious process, but if you want to look at it, here it is in all its tedious glory. So this is the way I do it most often, is I start with a photograph. I need to use Photoshop and I create a new layer on top of my photograph. And then I get in there and I draw. So I use white to draw with, and that's because my stencil material is white, the mylar sheets, and this just does my head in less if I'm actually sort of creating the lines of the stencil. So I'm using the photograph underneath to basically trace on top of, because that's just so much easier than drawing the whole darn thing myself. That takes way too long, and I've got things to do. I've got paintings to make. So I'm trying to have my design head on all the time and think about how the stencil fits together. Just now I'm making my line a little bit smaller so that I can get in and work around there. Look at this. This is me being lazy. No, 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 D. That's not what you want. Do it properly. Follow the line where it actually is. There you go. It wasn't that hard, was it? As I say, I find this tedious. Anyway, so see, now I'm going to start following those veins up. Liberal use of Control Z to fix up the things that I muck up. I do this on my Cintiq drawing tablet because it's just much, much easier to do this with a pencil in digital world, a digital pencil for digital world that I can control. I used to try and do it with my mouse, but given that I'm left-handed and my mouse is set up to be right-handed, that was never going to be very, very successful, was it? So I'm making sure the lines fit together because I don't want the middle of the stencil to fall out when I cut it. So every single thing, every white part has to be joined up to every other white part. There has to be, it's called contiguous in Photoshop language. So I'm not worrying too much right now about any ugly bits that I accidentally make where I pull lines together. I'll be going in with a finer brush to sort that out right at the end. You've got to be quite careful to not create little bits that make the stencil weak. Like if you have two lines coming in together and there's a little weeny gap where they come in together, it just creates a split. The stencil cutter will faithfully cut it and you'll have this weak part where it's not actually big enough to let any paint in. It doesn't make any difference to anything except it makes your stencil weaker. So I've learned a lot over the years how to make the stencils strong enough. So I think I've bored everybody enough with looking at this drawing. Let's go really fast now. Oh, that's better. Whew. What a joy that I can speed things up to, I don't know, I think 5 times their natural speed to show you this bit because it was long, people. It was long. Nobody has that much time to watch me draw on a screen. So that's that one done. Move across. Now the reason I will do 2 flowers is because they're subtly different from each other, particularly in those 2 petals there that sort of hang out at the bottom. And although I'm very much a fan of repeating a shape, I want to make sure that this is different enough that I have 2 flowers that are at slightly different angles. Whoops, didn't like that. Control Z again, yay, to my rescue. So yeah, I want them to be different enough from each other, but then I'm not going to draw any more. I'm not going to keep going with all the flowers in this photograph. 2's enough. And then I'll be manipulating them and adding them in. You'll see that in a minute, just as soon as I've finished drawing this flower. And then to correct any little problems in there that I can't really see at this stage, I need to zoom it right up. Now see how I can see all those dodgy connections with the lines? So I'll make my little white pencil a bit smaller and get in there and just prettify all those connections so that it'll give me nice lines in the stencil, I guess, and little gaps that I want to pay attention to. I just want to make sure it's okay. I've generally, the first time I cut a stencil, I will find on that first cut all the dodgy bits that make the stencil fall apart, that make it not strong enough in certain places, that make it not functional in certain places. So yeah, I've learned to take time on this step, and bits where the white lines like that don't connect, got to fix them because they'll just make it fall apart too. It's always good to be patient with this process. I tend to, I'm in a hurry. I decide I need a stencil for a particular thing, and so I'll rush up here to the computer and I'll make it, and then I'll cut it and I'll get back down to the studio and use it, and it's not quite what I need it to be. So, I'm learning to be more patient. Don't hold your breath, everybody. It's a big lesson. It's going to take me a little while longer. I'm doing the best I can with that. Nearly there. Find all the faults, Dee. You'll be sorry if you don't. Okay, I'm thinking that looks pretty good now. And no, I don't want those other flowers. I want the front-facing ones. So I need to create myself a new document now. And I'm going to make a document that's A4 sized, it's in landscape format, and it's black. And boom, there it is. And now I've pasted my little white drawing onto there so that I can manipulate that around. I can change the size, I can change the angle, I can flip it. I can do all kinds of things to get, I think I want probably 5 flowers in a little pleasing group so that I can stencil them all at once. So working in layers, because that's what Photoshop does, I'm just building it up and placing them, changing them around so that they look a little bit less cookie cutted. I could warp them as well if I wanted to really play with the differences between them, but I don't think I'll bother with this. They're just some simple little Australian native pea flowers. Now here I run up against a bit of a stump because I'm finding that those 3 of the same 2 flowers, it just looks too repetitive, and I can see at a glance that I've just repeated those shapes. So what I'll do is come in here, and you can see I'm trying to make it work because I am fundamentally quite lazy with all this stuff. But no, I'll have to accept that no, I'm really going to have to disappear one of those flowers. So I'll get my little rubber tool and I will erase one of them so that I can get it doing what I want. See you later, flower. It's sitting in a layer on top, so it's quite easy to get to just make it disappear. That. That's better. Like that. Well, maybe like that. I don't know. Do I want to move it a fraction anywhere else? This is so arbitrary, guys. I make stuff up all the time. You all know that, right? Okay, so now I'm saving it. You can see some of the many files that I've created in my portrait of Kale that I'll show you soon. Now I'm opening it now as a JPEG file, so it's flat. It's not layered like anymore like Photoshop files are. And I need to do that so that I can fill. Boop, there we go. Fill all that black with white so that you can start to see now that the black parts are where I'll be pushing the paint through. So happy with that. But look at all those artifacts, those lines that are around where I pasted the cutouts around. See, can't have that. So, no, not like that, Dee. Wrong tool. I had an eraser. I need some white paint, some digital white paint to cover those little lines up. There we go. Get rid of all the lines because they would cut as well. The stencil cutter program would see those lines and it would cut all of that. And that's not what I want. I need it to hang together as a stencil. So most of the time that I'm working on stencils, I'm working many times the actual size that it will end up so that I can see things clearly. Photoshop isn't best suited to this kind of work. I really should be using Illustrator, but I don't have Illustrator and I need Photoshop for fabric design stuff. So there it is. There's my little stencil. And it's a simple one. I don't think I'll have any problems at all with that little stencil. So now comes the exciting part of cutting the stencil. So there's a little bit of setup to go in my Silhouette Cameo program. Here it is. I've opened it and I'm going to import that file. Come on, window, get big enough for me. Where's that file? I'm confused here. I couldn't see it within the window, but it was just, there it is. So I need to drag it into my Silhouette program. See how massive it goes in. That's always the case. So I have to move it so I can see its corner, so I can shrink it. And then it's up to me. I often manipulate the size of stencils and I'll have, 3 or 4 versions of the same thing at different sizes, and that enables me to be able to get some spatial regression, use small things when they're further away and use the same stencil at a larger scale when things are closer. So yeah, it's a useful thing. So I'm just following all the steps to trace around the outline there, and then I'm sending it to the machine and I have to adjust the settings. So I'm adjusting the blade depth to 10, which is the maximum. It's got an auto blade in it. I'm making the force, the heaviest it will go, at 33. I'm slowing it down to a speed of 3 and I'm doubling the number of passes so it passes everything twice. So every cut gets made twice. And those are my settings. Now I have to turn on the machine. Okay, here's the file I just created, ready to be sent. Here's my Silhouette Cameo. I've got the mylar sheet stuck onto a cutting mat. I'm just lining it up here right onto those little arrows. And loading it so it's ready to cut. And now back to my screen and send. And there it goes. That'll probably take 15 minutes.